Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a flip through of all of my completed colouring pages so far. When I did my September finished pages I asked you guys if you wanted to see all of my completed colour pages, and I got a few comments down below to say yes, please share them, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for your support. So the first book that we're going to jump into is the Four Seasons book by Rita Berman. So it's a combination of the 4 books that she did of each of the different seasons. And in this one, I've actually only done one picture, which was a spring picture. So I did the dragonfly. As it was spring when I coloured it, I thought, you know, I'll try and stick within the seasons. I don't know if that will happen going forwards, but that's what I tried to do. So with this one, I used the Faber-Castell Black Edition coloured pencils. I used them up for this bit of the background here, as well as some white Posca over all of the little black dots to try and make it look a bit more bright. And then on the actual dragonfly wings, I don't know if you can see it, but I used a watercolour metallic paint. So it is shiny in real life, but I don't know if it will come through on the camera. But that was that picture, and that's the only one that I've done from that book. Okay, so next we have got A Million Unicorns by Lulu Mayo. This is probably one of my favourite books. I love unicorns, so this one I did is a double page spread. Move it over a bit, there you go. So for this one I used Arteza pencils, and I used white Posca to outline a bit of the fluffiness on the clouds and to add a few more stars into the background and some spots and love hearts on my unicorns. And then I also used a yellowy gold gel pen to do extra stars in the background as well, just to make it a little bit different so that it wasn't all white stars. But all the sea and the clouds was all done with Arteza pencils. And I just think this page is just so cute. And I actually really like how the castle came out. I know it's not a realistic looking castle, but to me, that is what a castle would look like in a unicorn land. So that's that one. And then the next picture that I've done in here is this one. And again, for this one, I used the Faber-Castell Black Edition. And I also used some polychromos, not polychromos, some, what are they called? Prismacolor. I used some Prismacolor for this one here. Now I only bought 2 Prismacolor pencils and they were open stock, and I got a greeny one and a pink one. So as you can see, the pink is the cloud and the greeny one is his little jumper, but all the others were coloured in Faber-Castell Black Edition. And I tried to leave some sort of shiny bits on there, so on the moon there's a little bit of shine, and in the middle of the cat, just to give it a little bit more dimension. But this is just a really cute page. You can use whatever colours you want and just make it as magical and as made up as you want to. So that's what I like about these books. They don't have to be realistic. They can just be whatever you want them to be. And then this one I showed you guys on my September's finished pages, so I'm not going to go over that one again. And I think that's everything from this book. I did just, oh, I've done some stars on that page. But yeah, that's everything from this book as far as I'm aware. Okay, so the next book that we have is A Million Sloths, also by Lulu Mayo. And in this one, oh look, it opened up right on that page that I coloured. So on this page I did the mushrooms and the sloths and the cats and all the magical little creatures that she puts in these books, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So I just tried to use as many different colours as I possibly could, and you know, made it as bright and different and varied as I possibly could. So for this I used the Faber-Castell Black Edition again. I like how they work in this paper, so I used them, but I won't always use them for this book. I will mix it up a little bit. It just happens to be what I've used so far. So yeah, I'm really happy with how she came out. She looks so happy sat there on her little mushroom, having a good laugh. And I also used some gel pens on here, so I went round these pink dots with a pink gel pen to try and make them look a little bit more pink rather than black outlines. And I went over the black outlines of these ones with a gold gel pen, and this one was like a coppery gel pen, just to try and break it up a bit and, you know, make the black lines not look as visible, and just a little bit of difference on the page really. So that's all I've done from this one. This is actually a new book. I've only just recently got this, but there's so many cute pictures in here that I know I'm going to really enjoy colouring, so that's fabulous. I'm going to move on to Jewellery Box by Hannah Carlzon. So this was the first book that I actually got of Hannah Carlzon's. I did this lion with Arteza pencils and a little bit of white gel pen just here, just to give that a little bit of a shine. I actually really like how he came out. He's not realistic, but he's very cute. So that was the first one that I did in here when I got the book. And then I did this tiny little flower here with Arteza pencils again. And then I did this book belongs to page. So I actually referenced a picture online to try and get the right colours for the peacocks and how they sort of lay out within the actual peacock. They don't look very realistic, but I tried. So for this one I used Arteza pencils, some white gel pen to go around the little gem here, and some gold gel pen to go around the edge, because I figured it was like a pendant, so it was gold with the gemstone on the top. So that's what I did for that one. I quite like how the flowers came out. I didn't do a background on this one. I just thought it looked nice how it was, and I wasn't really sure what colour to do, so I left it as is. And then the next one that I've done in here is in the middle is this one. So it's just the butterfly page, and I used for this Faber-Castell Black Edition for this one, this one, this one and this one. And then this one was black acrylic paint, because I actually coloured it in and I didn't like what I'd done to it, so I went over it with black acrylic paint and then white Posca to give it some definition. And this one was done with the Arteza pencils. And then for the background I used a soft pastel, the Munger I think they're called, soft pastels, sort of like a yellow and a bluey colour. And then with this I used gel pens, and I was trying to make it look a bit like magic dust coming away from the butterflies themselves. I'm not really too happy with that, but the picture itself I like. I just kind of wish that I hadn't have added all of these little squiggly bits to the page, but you know, you live and you learn. So that's that one. And the next one is this one. So this one I did with Arteza pencils for the actual skin tones and the backgrounds and their hair. And then I used some white gel pen on the gemstone to try and make that look a little bit more realistic. And soft pastel again for the background, just a purple and pink soft pastel. And then for the gold I used, they're called Script metallic pencils. So I did all of this here in them to try and make that look a bit more like gold. And then I just went over it slightly with some white Posca to try and make it look a little bit more shiny in some places, so that it actually looks a bit more like it's got a reflection. But this was my first attempt at doing skin tones, so it's not the worst, I don't think. You know, it's obviously not the best, but that was my first attempt, so I'm quite proud of that. So next in here, just check I'm not missing any, we have got this one, the little rabbit page, which again I did as a spring picture. So with this one I used Arteza colours for the bunnies and for the basket itself. I used watercolour paint for the background of the grass and all of the background here, the blue that you see. And I also used it to do the basket and the flowers and the leaves, and then I went over it with Arteza pencils. And again, I went over the grass with some Arteza pencils to give it some grass strokes, and a little bit of white Posca to give it some little flowers here and there. The clouds I actually put in afterwards. I used the Faber-Castell Black Edition because they're meant to work on coloured paper and black paper, and you can see them, they did show up on the page, and even the white actually came out, so I don't think it looked too bad. But the mistake that I made with this, when I was painting the sky rather than painting it this way, I went that way, so you could see the lines. So I wanted to get some clouds in there to try and disguise that a little bit so it wasn't quite as obvious. But yeah, so that's what I did for that one. And I'm quite happy with how the orange bunny came out. I really like his fur. I think it looks, you know, quite nice. But this one I'm not too keen on. I don't know whether I just didn't do enough fur or what went wrong with this one. I'm not sure. But overall, as a page, I think it's quite nice. So that's that one. And then on this page, I actually did this all with watercolours. So I was trying to go for like the galaxy type background effect, which I'd never done before. So it didn't come out as good as some people that I've seen. Obviously on YouTube and Instagram, there's some fantastic pictures where they've used watercolours for the background. But I also tried using watercolours for the flowers themselves. And to be honest, they didn't come out too bad. I managed to get a bit of definition, you know, with the two different colours and blend it in as well, so it didn't look too obvious. And then with the lighter ones, I went over them with this one with a yellow Posca to try and disguise the black lines, and again with a orangey yellow for this one to try and make it blend in. But I wasn't 100% keen on it, so I actually left the others as they were. I didn't want to make them any different really. And then this one was in my September's finished pages, so I'm not going to dwell on that one, but I do like it. And I think that is everything for this book. Yes. So the next one that I've got from Hannah Carlson is Magical Dawn. And in this one, I've actually only done one picture, which is this one. I haven't had the book for that long, and I've been colouring in other books, so it's got sort of pushed to the back. But I did this one with the Artezas and with some white Posca, and that was all I used for it. The gold is the Arteza gold pencil, and the bubbles were, I just free-handed them just to give it a little bit of something in the background. I didn't want to do a whole big background. I just wanted to make it, you know, a little more different. So yeah, that was that one. And I quite like how this turned out. The little light hitting the inside of the little jewellery box. So yeah, I'm quite happy with him. He's very cute. Next we have got Summer Nights by Hannah Carlson. And in this one I have done, I've done tiny little mushrooms. I did them with the Arteza pencils. And then for this page, just checking that it's in frame. So I used polychromos for the face, the skin, just 3 different ones. I can't remember which colours I used, but yeah, I did that. And then I used Arteza pencils for the butterfly itself. And then for the hair, I used Crayola. So these were all Crayola pencils, and the lips and the stars were Arteza, but all the hair in the background was done with Crayola. And it's, I'm not 100% with the hair, like I feel like I could have done it better, but as a page I quite like it. And then next we've got this page, which is the pocket watch, I guess. So this one I actually really like how it came out. I like the colours that I used, I like the background, just a little bit around the edges just to give it some pizzazz. And I did some white Posca on the actual clock face itself to try and make that look a bit more reflective. I probably could have put more on there in hindsight, but the page itself I'm really happy with. I like how that came out. And next from this book we have got this page, which I did with Arteza pencils for all of this and the flowers. And then the background, I actually used acrylic paint, just black acrylic paint for the background. And then I went over it with some Posca pen to add in the dots, and then tried to sort of match the dots to the objects around it. So where we've got the blue flowers, I've put some blue dots, and the orange flowers, I've got some orange dots, just to sort of break it up from it just being solid black and white. I wanted to add a few more extra colours in there as well. So I don't know if you can see that. And this was all just plain. I actually added the brickwork in myself just to make it look a little bit different. And on the steps as well, I added the bricks in. So that's that one. And I don't think I've done any more in here. I've got, this one is a whip that I'm currently working on ready for Halloween, but you will see that one in October's finished pages. So that is that. The next we've got Phantomorphia by Kirby Roseanne. So I think I've only got one finished in here. Let's just have a look. Oh, that's a whip. Aha, this one. So with this one, I actually used touch markers for the background. All the pink was done with markers. The flowers I did with Faber-Castell Black Edition. So these ones and these ones. I did base these blue ones with markers and then just used a light blue to add in the details on these. But the pink ones were done all with Faber-Castell Black Edition. And so with the skulls, they were done with Faber-Castell Black Edition as well. And then for the butterfly itself, I used Arteza pencils and just sort of did like a gradient, getting darker as it comes to the edge. But yeah, I actually really like this picture. It came out really nice. So that was a more recent picture that I've done. This is the one that I'm thinking of doing a colour along for Halloween. So if you guys do want to see that, let me know in the comments below. What more Kirby book? So we've got Geomorphia. And in this one I have done this book belongs to. So on this one I used soft pastels for the background and some white Posca to do the clouds. I used Faber-Castell Black Edition for the trees and the flowers, and I think I used Faber-Castell on all of this actually. This was all Faber-Castell Black Edition. Obviously I used quite a lot of white Posca. I was trying to make this look like snow on top of the mountains, and some in the water to give it that more watery texture. I don't know if you can see that bit. So that's the water and the waterfalls. And then my castles I just went with really bright colours because everything else was kind of more realistic colours and I wanted something a little bit more bright to pop on the page. And then over this side we've got the volcano, and I really like how that came out, and I did some sort of orange and grey smoke coming out of that just to make it look like it was erupting. And then the whole little village here, so I did all the houses the same because I assume if you live in a little village all the houses are going to be the same. And then made this look like a bit more of a bug because I think it's supposed to be some kind of a bug. And then added in all of the stones, and I just used grey pencils with some black pencils and some darker greys to get that effect on the stones. But I really like the background on this one. I used soft pastels for this, and I think it just really brings the picture forward, makes it look really nice and vibrant. So that's that one. And then there's this one which I showed in September's finished colour pages, so you guys have already seen that. And I think that is everything in this book. Yep, so that's that one. Next we have some Christmas colouring books. Christmas is my favourite time of year, so I like colouring Christmas pages. The page actually fell out of this book, but this book it's called Adult Christmas Book. I believe it came from Home Bargains and it was like £3 or £4, something like that. So in this book I did the gingerbread page. As you can see, a very cute little gingerbread house with some little gingerbread men. And I used Arteza colour pencils for this. I used soft pastels for the background and some gold gel pen to add some sparkles, and some white gel pen as well to go over the snowflakes to try and make them look a bit more like snowflakes. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, so that's the only page that I finished in there, but it's super cute. It's a super cute book. I mean, it wasn't expensive, and I don't know if they're going to be selling them again this year, but it's got some really cute pages in. And I've got some whips in here as well, like some pages that I've just started but haven't finished. But I would definitely be coming back to this book in December. So you guys will see some finished pages from that in December. So that's that one. The next one that I've got is Country Christmas Colouring Book by Teresa Goodrich. So in this one, I've done a couple. So I did the first page, and for this I used Arteza colour pencils. I'm really happy with how the woodwork came out in this one. I actually really like it. And the snowman, to be fair. I think he looks really cute with the tartan bow in the background. So that was the first picture that I did out of this book. There's one that I've started, but that's as far as it's got. What else have we got in here? So there's this one I've started again but haven't finished this. This one I was testing out some new oil-based pencils that I'd got off of Amazon, I think. This one is one of my completed pages in here. It is by far one of my favourite completed pages. So all the snow, I just think it looks really cool. I love snow pictures. So what I used for this was I used a bit of touch markers as a base for the houses themselves, and then went over it with the Arteza pencils. I used a lot of white Posca for this. A lot of white Posca pen. I'm surprised I had any left by the end of it. But what I tried to do with this is sort of incorporate all of the reflections that you would see within the snow, just to give it that little bit more colour, because it was quite white looking. So I added some sort of blues and greys into the snow, and then here where you've got the house light, I added the reflections and the reflections from the lights there. So we've got red reflections and yellow from the house and from these little lights. And I'm actually really pleased with how this came out. This might even be like my favourite completed picture ever. So that is that one. Another whip. There's one more in here, I think, which is this one. A very cute little doggy page. So this one I did in 2020, so it was the first 2020 in January. But yeah, this is probably one of the second ones that I did out of this book. But I think it's really cute. I like how it came out, all the different colours. And the doggy, I like doggies. I have a doggy, so I had to do the dog page as soon as I saw it. So that is that one. Then we have got Creative Haven Best Dressed Pets. So in this one I've actually just been working in order. So the first one that I did here, I used Arteza pencils and just a little bit of white Posca to go around the raindrops and to add some fur to the cat. And then in here it's like raining cats and dogs, so I did them as clouds and outlined them in white as well, just so that it looked a bit more cool. Yeah, I really like how his little boots came out. I really like the umbrella and his hat. I'm not too keen on the dog's face itself. I didn't add any fur texture or anything like that to it. But it was kind of the first animal that I'd coloured. And then this one I did with Arteza and white Posca. So obviously I used white Posca all over the dog to give it the white fur effect. But I put some greys and some pinks under there as well. And then I used Arteza for the background. So this was my first attempt at doing, I think they call it a Bohican background. So yeah, I did that one. And I was really pleased how it came out, actually. I did try it on a scrap piece of paper first to see if it would work or not, but it did work. So I was like, okay, we'll do this. So yeah, I'm really glad with how that turned out. And this one, which you guys have just seen in my September coloured pages. So that's that one. Then next we have got Enchanted Forest by Johanna Basford. So this was one of my earlier colouring books. So I did This Page Belongs To, and I used Arteza pencils for all of that. I like how the rabbits turned out. I think they look super cute. Just all different vibrant colours. Because when I'm colouring leaves, I don't want to do them all green, because I feel like it's just going to be a green page. So I try to do different coloured leaves and make it look just a little bit different, really. And then we have got these pages. So I did the compass, and I tried to make it look sort of more autumny, winter this side, so darker colours on this side, and then I used the same colour tones but lighter colours on this side to try and make that side look brighter. I love my little caterpillar. I think he's so cute. You probably can't see him from down there. He's very luminous. And then I did all of this with Arteza pencils and just a little bit of gold gel pen for the edging and for the handle of the clock. Yeah, I quite like that one. It's a cute picture. And then I did this one, and I used very similar colours because I didn't want it to look too different to the opposite side. So I did the castle. This was all done with Arteza pencils as well. I didn't do a background. I don't think I really did backgrounds when I completed these ones. So it was just, you know, colouring the actual parts of the page that are there to be coloured, I guess. So that's that one. This one is a whip, which I haven't come back to yet, and it has been a whip for so long. So I do need to finish that. But I think it'll turn out all right once it's finished. So that's that one. Then we have the squirrel and the owl page, and again I tried to make them look quite similar. So as you can see, I decided to go for the purple background on both of them and the blue. This one I made sort of a bit more darker than this one. I used some gel pens on this one as well to go around some of the edges, and kept all the leaves like a darker colour, darky blues and purples, and over here we've got like the dark blues and the greens. So yeah, that's them too. And then we've got this one, which was done with pastel pencils for the background and Crayola for the flowers and the birds. So I actually quite like how the birds come out. I think they look quite cute. The pastel pencils for the background didn't work very well. You can definitely see all of the pencil strokes. So that's that one. And then I've got this one, which I did as sort of like a colour along with the Facebook group, the Johanna Basford Facebook group. So they'd done one and you had to use only purples, reds and pink. So I think it was for Valentine's Day. So I did this one. So I used Arteza pencils for most of this. All this red flowers was Arteza, all the purple was Arteza, and the background was Arteza. Then I used red gel pen for the background here, and I used some gel pens as well to do some of these leaves. So like the brighter ones that you can see, they're more gel pens. That one's a gel pen, and then the rest was all with Arteza. And then I just went over with the white Posca pen and added some details in, some love hearts there. I think I drew that in as part of the challenge for the Facebook group. And I think, yeah, that's everything from that one. Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean. So this book, I've done a few pages. I've got a couple of whips in here and some pages where I've just sort of tested out new media within the book. So for this one, I used soft pastels for the background, and I used gel pens for the fishes just to make them nice and vibrant. And then I've done the nameplate page, again soft pastels for the background. There's some Arteza pencils in here and also some gel pens. With these, the little tiny bits, they're quite difficult to get with pencils. You have to have a really sharp point, so the gel pens can come in handy for this book, and they don't tend to bleed through, not that I've noticed anyway. This one isn't finished yet. Let's have a look. So I've got this one, which again is a whip. So for this one, I've been using gel pens and also some acrylic paint pens. So like, for example, the blue there is an acrylic paint pen, and the red and the yellow is acrylic paint pens, but most of it's just sort of gel pens in general. I just thought I'd do them all different colours and make them all really vibrant and bright. This one is a whip, so I started this with watercolour pencils. So as you can see, I've activated it in some places, and then here I haven't actually even activated that yet. So I was testing out some new watercolour pencils that I got. I do quite like it, so I will have to come back and finish that at some point. This one I did with acrylic paint in the background, and I'm not really happy with how it came out, to be fair, so I just sort of abandoned this picture and I just haven't come back to it, and I don't know if I can save it, but I might try to at some point. Then I've done both of these pages. So this one, I've seen quite a few people do this on YouTube. I've seen pictures on Instagram. I decided to go for like a rainbow effect on here, so try and blend the different colours into one another. So I used Arteza pencils and some gel pens as well for some of the details in that one. It's quite a vibrant, bright page. And then this one I completed all with Arteza pencils. So I really like how this one turned out. I like how the fish came out with just a little bit of shading and just slightly different colours, and all the background with all the different sea colours and, you know, the yellows and oranges here and there. So yeah, I was quite happy with that one. And then next we have got this one. So this one I did back in 2019, so it was one of the first pictures really that I did when I started to add some shading and some different, you know, blending techniques to the picture. But I didn't do a background. I didn't even think to do a background at that time. So, but I'm quite happy with how that one turns out. It stands off from the page, so I don't really feel like it needs a background. What else have we got in here? We got this one, which is a whip. Again, I think this is the Faber-Castell Black Edition that I started this with. This one is a finished page, so I used watercolours for the background, so all the sea and the sky, and I used Crayola pencils for the whale itself, then just a little bit of white Posca for the clouds and the top of the whale where he comes out of the water to make him look a bit more shiny. And that was that one. I'm quite happy with the watercolour background. I actually quite like how that came out. And then we have this one, which was a oil pastel background, and it is just a complete mess, to be honest. I put way too much oil pastel on there and it's just gone sort of lumpy and blotchy. Yeah, that was my first experience with oil pastels, so can only get better from there. And I think that is everything for that book. Just make sure that what page is covered, otherwise I'll get covered in oil pastel. Yeah, so that's everything from Lost Ocean. Okay, so next we've got Millie Marotto's Tropical Wonderland. This was probably one of the first ever books that I got. This one was completed in 2016, so it's a very old picture that I did, and it would have been Crayolas that I used for this because I don't think I actually had any other coloured pencils at the time. So that's that one, and there's quite a few in here that I've just done random bits and just never came back to. This one was finished in 2019 as well. A very colourful owl. What else have we got in here? A mandala. Again, Crayola pencils. There's no highlights, no shading, just blunt colour throughout the whole page. We've got a half done back page. What's the next one? This one, just some flowers. Again, no shading, just completely block colours. And that would have been done with the Crayolas as well. And then we've got this one, which is kind of like the first page that I actually did, where I started to do the backgrounds and use some blending techniques with different colours and add some white Posca paint just to sort of give little highlights here and there. So, oh, not the camera. It's the one page. And there's the second page. So yeah, that was probably the first picture that I actually sort of like started blending and using different colours in this book with. And then the next finished one is here. Again, this was done in 2019, so it would have been all Crayola coloured pencil, this one. And then that's it for this book, guys. So that was Millie's Tropical Wonderland. And the next book of hers that I've got is Animal Kingdom. And I think I've only done 2 in this book. Oh, there's this one, which is a kind of a whip that I started and then never went back to. And then there's this one. So this page I actually finished, but again didn't do a background or anything like that for this, because this was like really early in my colouring. And this one's half done. It hasn't been finished, and it probably won't get finished. So that's everything from that book. And then the next one I've got is Art Nouveau by Jade Summer. So this is the only Jade Summer book that I've actually got. So I did this with touch markers. There's no pencil work on top, no shading, anything. It's just literally the touch markers on there. And then we've got the witchy page, which again, just markers. And this one, which is just touch markers, no shading. This one, and this one. So they've all been done with touch markers, and there's no sort of shading work on there. And then the last one that I've got in here is this one, which was done back in 2019, which is with Crayolas. So there's a little bit of shading in there, but nothing major. And that is everything that I have coloured so far, you guys. So that's it, guys. That's all my completed pages so far. The good, the bad and the ugly. But, you know, it is a journey, as I said. So obviously not all the pictures that you do are going to be great, but you learn from every picture that you do and you can make improvements as you go along. So yeah, that's everything then for this video. So I'll see you guys in the next one.